everyone, welcome back to E20 Zone TV, where I sort the camera work out. Hope everyone is having a very, very good Sunday wherever you are. Obviously, we played on Friday night. We got knocked out. We could have had Spurs in the next round, which would have been epic, but it wasn't to be. To my right is Jay. You know who he is. Anyone who wants to come on tonight, by all means, the link is in the chat. Come on and have your say on what is going on at West Ham. Jay, how are you, mate?
I'm very well, thank you. Evening, everyone in chat. Hope you're all doing well. I must be honest, I'm still quite tired. I'm getting too old for these away days, mate. I was obviously up at Villa Park on Friday. Went up there and back in the space of the day, and didn't get in until about 3:30 in the morning, maybe a bit before 3 in the morning, around 3 in the morning. So, and yeah, I've just been trying to catch up on sleep and had a busy weekend. So, yeah, a bit tired, a bit disappointed with the game, which I'm sure we'll get into, but otherwise, all good, mate. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Obviously, Friday night was gutting for all of us because I thought West Ham played all right in the first half. Second half, they ran out of steam. But first half, I thought they was well in the game, and obviously we lost the injuries. And I actually felt sorry for Potter on the sort of debut game. There was nothing he could do really. Or anyone who was bringing on, right, the subs that we're bringing on are fucking shit, and we need a major rebuild from the bottom up. You was there Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what you think.
I agree with what you said, to be honest. I, at halftime, thought that was the most fun I've had at West Ham in a long time. Long time. Atmosphere was great. The boys played their hearts out. I was really happy with the effort levels, the energy levels. And I'll tell you what, I was so impressed and optimistic about the players that we've got in that Potter had 24 hours to work with those lads. He had done none of the pre-match prep. He had done none of the opposition prep, none of the tactical work. He had match day -1 and basically had to try and translate his ideas across. We set up in a completely different way. There was players playing in new roles. They looked more comfortable. We not only defended, I thought we were so organised defensively in that first half.
I agree with you there.
It was superb to see. And when we got the ball and we hit him on the counter, we went forward with purpose. We didn't try and slow it down and turn around and keep the ball. We just got it and we went, do you know what? Let's have a go at them. And hence we took the lead after 10 minutes. And it was just brilliant to watch. I had so much fun watching that first half. And it was genuinely blown away. Where has that been all season? But it reminded me that we have got a bunch of very good footballers there, a bunch of very, very good players. But once we got into the second half, obviously losing Füllkrug was killer. It was absolutely killer. The drop in quality from first team to like the squad players is quite big when you look at it that way. And I, along with everyone, was probably just baffled at Danny Ings' performance. It was his chance, really. It was his chance to say, all right, I know that we're now down 2 strikers and Bowen's injured as well. I'm your guy. And he literally he just ran around all game. He did a lot of cardio and not much more else. And you could see that, the longer the game wore on, I was as fuming as everyone else was about. I had the perfect angle for the corner that wasn't a corner. Absolutely livid at that. But it's very West Ham, innit? Concede a corner that's not a corner and concede from it. And we just ran out of steam. We ran out of legs. The players coming on were like not at the same kind of level. I felt for like Luis Guilherme coming on. He's obviously still finding his way in a Premier League side, and then he's had to try and switch into a slightly different role in a different setup that he didn't understand. Not didn't understand, but isn't used to. I thought Soufal was miles off it. And we just ran out of bodies. It just felt like we just didn't have the squad there to push through and hold on. So gutted, mate. Lots of signs of optimism. Lots of probably things to be concerned about in terms of the squads. But the thing I took away from it, and I'm interested to hear what you think and what chat thinks as well. The thing I took away from it is we're probably going to have to grin and bear a lot of stuff like that for the rest of the season. I can't see us making tons of moves for the rest of the transfer window. I don't think we've got the money. And I don't think he's got the squad to play the type of football that he wants to play. So I think it's going to be tough, mate. But I'm optimistic that Potter can, after a while, probably get a tune out of the squad.
I don't think we can wait, if I'm being real. I don't think we I don't think we've got the bodies to wait. Well, they're dropping like flies, especially at the top
Yeah.
end of the pitch. Let's have it right. We're one defender away from a crisis. Like
Yeah.
if Kilman or Mav goes down, and no Mav's been shit, but he's still a centre half. If he goes down, we've got one centre half at the club. Like I know we've got Casey and all that, but I think chucking him in's a bit of a risk. I think
Yeah.
with Scarles, who I will get onto, I thought was fucking excellent, but with a centre half, it's a bit different because he's got a Marshall top end strikers, whereas a left back can sort of handle that and have cover, and people could back him up, like in midfield. Um, I agree. I agree. I just thought on Friday night I was gutted. Like I thought the boys played well, and the Füllkrug injury sort of derailed us at the start. Do you know what I mean? And it was just like a progressive thing. It was his injury, then it was getting to half time and losing Somerville, and then the second half we got Danny Ings running around for us. And there's people out there crying out saying, "Oh, we've got to give Danny Ings a chance." That's what I mean. Like we ain't got to give this geezer a chance. He's on 125 fucking grand a week, and he is shit. He's absolutely shite. And I don't know, the watch along with Clive, me and him sat there and we said this is going to be like a vintage fucking Danny Ings performance, sitting there just doing not a lot. And that is the case. Regards of the injury, what do you make of it with Füllkrug, mate? Because that's another one that's gone down permanent. What I think he's out for the season. I don't think he's coming back this season.
So the news come out today was that it's 3 months, up to 3 months, which is pretty much him gone. What West Ham are pretty, I say good at, it's not a skill, but what West Ham tend to do is overestimate the time that they're out for and then try and give the fans like a bit of a buzz when they come back a little bit sooner. But again, at the time, I didn't see how he went down. I was obviously following where the ball was and then turn around and he's on the floor and then he's getting taken off. When I saw it back and you can pinpoint the moment that his hamstring just pings and he looked in a lot of pain. So yeah, like what can you really do? We're going to have to go and replace him. We're going to have to go get some backup. I agree. I agree. We just haven't got the bodies and we can't wait. But knowing like how many areas we need backup and we need support now, we've it's going to be tough to stretch that budget and to try and get the right players. So
how can we spend 150 million and be worse in depth? Like I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, right, we need to go and spend another 150 million at the very least before we even get started. Do you know what I mean? When you look at the strikers that we've got, the issue with Füllkrug is now people were saying that he was going to go in this window. Well, that's him out the door. He ain't going nowhere now. I definitely think we need to bring JWP back. I think that strengthens the midfield up a little bit. People are sort of umming and ahhing about that, but for me, you take Guido out, he's no good. He's fucking shit. And you put in a man who is a Premier League proven player. Everyone likes to use that phrase, so I'm going to start using it. And then we go from there. Obviously, some of it went down, but it ain't as bad. I don't think he's going to make it on Tuesday, mate. If you want me to be real, I'll be very shocked if they play him on Tuesday night after that, taking him off as a precaution. I think Palace is more likely. Well, what are you saying about Somerville, mate? Because I thought he had a good game on Friday night.
I thought he was excellent. I hear apparently maybe Roy Keane, whoever was in the punditry, was going nuts about how great he was in that first half. And I thought I was quite genuinely, it was nice to be there and be like, I've got no idea what formation we're playing at what time. Like I had no like full understanding of what was happening, but I was just enjoying seeing players press and like try and win the ball and get it forward. He was at the heart of everything good that we did in that first half. He was either winning the ball back or he was making a good run. So I thought he was excellent. He was probably a close second for man of the match for his performance in that first half behind Ollie Scarles, who we'll touch on in a moment. But yeah, I was shocked at how well he did defensively as well. He was absolutely superb. And shocked is no disrespect to him as a player, but giving him more responsibility in that sort of, when you're going forward, you're a winger. When you're defending, you're a wing back. And he tucked into almost like a flat five at times. He was just so comfortable. It was just a pleasure to watch. It really was. And I mean, you look at it this way, you take out somebody who was your biggest threat going forwards and your only outlet, which was Nicholas Füllkrug. It's no wonder that as the game wore on, we just absorbed more and more pressure. We had less and less to offer. So I'll be gutted if he's not playing Tuesday, mate. I'll be really, really gutted. And I fear that you're right. And I'm sure we'll do a preview tomorrow.
Yeah.
But and we'll have to sit there and try and figure out what on earth we do. No striker, no left winger. Like it's going to be interesting to see what he does.
Brace yourself in East London, people. Jay is about to unleash Guilherme on that right hand side, mate. 100%. Right, I'm gonna get to a few comments. Hi, E20 crew. I've just been triggered by Gonzo. Shout out to Gonzo on the next platform. And he goes, like that. Question, lads, 4 top tier leagues in football. Would either you come up with only one option in, for fuck's sake, Rashford on loan? Do you know that the problem is West Ham don't do anything really mega in the January window, do they? That's the problem. They never have. The only time they've ever done that is with Bowen. Bowen was a January sign. The thing is, if there's players in the Championship, go after them now. If it is Latte Laf, go after him. I see. Was it Atlanta FC have offered to take him off their hands?
Tones just put it in the chat. Yeah. I saw that news today as well. Atlanta FC for 18 million quid. If Atlanta FC are beating us to striker signings, then we've got problems. Now, I did, here's a good topic of discussion. This probably isn't fair as a litmus test, but I sat through the majority of Blackburn Rovers against Middlesbrough on the weekend, because I said the other day I haven't watched a lot of Middlesbrough. My mate was over and he's a Rovers fan, so we sat and watched that. Some of the worst football I've ever seen. And I was really excited to watch a Michael Carrick team, and it was honestly diabolical. But I will caveat it and say it was FA Cup. Latte Laf didn't start. Hayden Hackney didn't start. They only came on when they were losing. And by then they couldn't create anything. So I'll give him a pass. But I was like, oh, this will be interesting to watch a Michael Carrick side. And I was not impressed whatsoever. But I didn't really get a look at this Latte Laf guy. I can only go off of what people say, which is they say he's top notch. And
I just think, Jay, that the only way that you're going to get people at the club is if you act like a big club, go into the Championship and take players from other clubs. Like I don't see Premier League clubs letting any of their sort of assets go in this sort of January window. And when you look at us right now, we've got no striker, technically. We've got Danny Ings, which is as good as being a no fucking striker. So we need someone in the ranks, and I'm going to be honest, I felt sorry for Füllkrug. Like, even though I've criticised him all season, I thought at the start of the game, I thought he looked all right, and then when he goes down, I'm like, for fuck's sake, it's 1 step forward, 2 steps back with West Ham. Like, we get rid of the manager, we bring a new manager in, then one of our players goes down. Now we're scrambling about. For me, there's talent in there. There's talent in the Championship, and I just think you just need to go after a couple of players to a point. What did you make of Potter as a whole on Friday?
I was impressed. Like I say, the fact that within 24 hours he managed to completely change the way that we played, and that first half we were the better team, comfortably the better team. I didn't think we looked troubled by Villa whatsoever in that first half. Anytime they got near us in the final third, we were organised, we were solid. Everything was excellent, and we had Mavropanos playing at centre back, and we had a 19-year-old playing at left back, and we looked like we just dealt with everything. So, mate, I was super impressed. I think. Do you know what's funny? I was thinking about this. Like, we spoke on Monday, we spoke on Tuesday when everything was going on, and since then, a lot's changed at West Ham. We're sitting here at the back end of the week. We got a new manager. We're out the FA Cup. We've got another game on Tuesday. It's properly like changed in the space of 5 days at West Ham. To talk about sort of the feeling of getting Graham Potter, I think I said before, it's an uninspiring choice, and it was probably a pragmatic one. Out of the managers which fit the non-negotiables and the criteria that David Sullivan has, Premier League experience and free signing, he's probably the best one. In fact, he's comfortably the best one. There was no one else there that I would have remotely wanted us to go for out of those managers, and Potter was the man. So we get him, and I go, cool. It's, we've been bit by you change manager, and we're told to be excited, and we're told not to limit our ambitions. I've been bit by that, so I'm being very sensible in thinking he's probably not going to change the world before the end of the season. He's going to need at least 1, maybe 2 transfer windows to get the right kind of squad to play his way, but he certainly came in and said all the right things. And do you know what? Like, he just looked excited, and he sounded excited to be at West Ham. It was nice to feel.
He feels hungry. Yeah,
Yeah. It was nice
I
to
feel.
feel like some kind of affinity to the guy in the chair for once, which I haven't
Mm,
felt since Moyes. So yeah.
I'm going to be honest. Yeah, I can feel the hunger off the geezer that he wants to
Mm,
succeed. I think he's got a point to prove. I think he looks at West Ham as a big club. We all look at West Ham as a big club. Even some of our own fucking fan base don't do it, but we all do think we are a big club, and we know we're a big club.
mm,
Um, when I look at him, I think there's a plan there, right? And he's got a plan in place, which is a start. If you've got a man at the top of the head coach who's got a plan, then we're only going to go in one direction, and that's his direction, and that's what I want to. That's what I want to see at West Ham. I don't want to see shite. Right, and I just want to see a plan and a project that we can all see. Do you know what I mean? Because one
mm.
thing with football fans, we're not thick. Yeah, like we can see like what's going on, and we will call it out. Do you know what I'm saying? Um, I like him. I like him. I do. I trust him like more. As the weeks go on, I will trust him a bit more. Obviously, I do think he needs help from up above though. And if they haven't got the money, why have they not got the fucking money? Do you know what I'm saying? Because we are running out of bodies, and the problem is it's going to look bad on him then. Because if he goes and loses the next two games, it's like, well, people are going to start getting on his back. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's what I don't want to see. I don't want to see people getting on the geezer's back when he's got to recover the mess. I actually do believe, though, Lopetegui, in one way, has really stitched us up because I think he's burnt out all these players, if you want me to
Yeah.
be honest.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of these players are burnt out and they look fucked, some of them,
Yeah.
right? Do you know what I'm saying? And I think he overworked some of these players in games when he didn't need to. And this is the situation now. Like, because amount of injuries we've got, West Ham under Moyes never used to have any real major injuries, maybe one or two at best. We've got near enough all of our front line are out. Do you know what I'm saying? We've got one centre half who can't get fit. I see someone in the chat there just say about Souček up front. Is that an option,
No.
Jay?
No, it's not an option. It's not an option. Like I actually think we need Souček's legs in midfield, and he's not tidy enough as a centre forward. You might as well stick with Danny Ings, and you'll get as like granted Souček would be better in the air, but he's not tidy enough on the ball. And he's actually done really really well this season. He's been one of the few players I think's had a pretty good season. Is he's simplified his game. He's positionally brilliant. He'll get the ball and he'll bop it, and that's all he has to do. And then he's like his discipline positionally is so important to our midfield. I can't see Souček playing up front, mate. I can't. What I do agree with you on is I don't want to see people getting on Potter's back. We've not got like anywhere near the squad that he needs. I know that obviously all the articles and podcasts and whatever have come out since Roshane's done an article and a podcast about what Lopetegui actually did behind the scenes. To come in and just slash the days off straight away. We're playing a 41 game season this season, by the way. We've played 60 plus for the last 3 years, and we never looked this tired. Maybe not until the last like 4 or 5 games of the season did we look this tired, and we looked exhausted. Now, I do think that's repairable. You think we're out the cup now, and I'm gutted because I absolutely love the FA Cup. It's so horrible. The draw for round 4 has been done, and we haven't got a horse in the race. It's irritating, but it means we'll get a week off soon. Potter can come in and he'll get the balance right. I think he's a very good man management. He's good at understanding people. Once they get a bit of time off and they can do a bit of like actual like team bonding, I think this is repairable, and I think we can see the players start to get fit again. But as you say, the damage is kind of done. You've got Füllkrug out for 3 months. The Debo, who knows what's wrong with him? What's happened to Emerson, by the way? Like, has anyone got any clue what's going on?
I don't think he wants to be here, mate.
Yeah, I agree.
I keep hearing little whispers, and I said it the other day. Shout out to Tony, yeah, because I was on his channel the other day, Early Doors Football TV. Go and subscribe to that man's channel. I was on there. I spoke to a trader during the day, and they said, "Jay, we're hearing Chilwell from Chelsea straight away." So I jumped on the betting market, see, just have a butcher's to see really where he is in the market. We're second favourites for him behind Juventus. Juventus are favourites. We're second favourites. And obviously now Scarles has come in and done really well. I want to see that kid be given an opportunity. The only problem is with Scarles currently right now is can he do a full 90 minutes in the Premier League week in, week out? I don't think he can, if I'm being honest. Right, he proved it the other night. He done 70 minutes, and after that he was a bit all over the place. Yeah, he had a great 70 minutes, don't get me wrong, but can we chuck him in for 90 minutes against Fulham and then Palace. I don't think so. I think we're going to have to work him into it if I'm being honest. But
Yeah.
I don't think Emerson. I don't think Emerson wants to be in there. I think he wants to go back to Italy, mate. If I'm to be honest.
Yeah, I can't really blame him. Look, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, do we? It's obviously not come out yet. And if that wasn't the case, we would have known. Oh yeah, he's injured, and somebody would have said, yeah, he's out with this problem. But the fact that no one said any reason that he's out, he's just got this mythical knock, and he's got no specified return date. I completely agree with you. I know that there was interest from Italy. I think Juve were mentioned, so it would make sense that Juve will. It's quite clever, isn't it? Juve will look at their targets, know that we're also interested in Chilwell, and probably quite publicly say that they're interested in Chilwell as well. And it's kind of trying to force us to do something.
I actually think it wouldn't surprise me. Emerson goes, Chilwell comes in. Emerson goes to Juventus. We get Chilwell from Chelsea.
Free up a bit of money if they buy him as well. Gets a bit of cash in, especially if you loan. I wouldn't want to see anything other than a loan for Chilwell. He's too injury prone. And you look at it from now to the end of the season. You've got 18 games left this season. If he's fit for half of them and Scarles is fit for the other half, fine, no problem at all. It's sensible. You get money in the door to potentially go and sign a striker. Player I want to talk about. Player I know you're a fan of, and he seems to split some opinions for some reason. Is Jonathan David. Now he's out of contract in the summer, and seems to be the only high level striker that will be a reasonable price. What do you think of that player?
And anyone who watched my video from the utility room, because that's my new headquarters now, the utility room yesterday. I want JD here. And I don't mean like Jack Daniels, I mean Jonathan David. This geezer's a good player, and I think West Ham need to go out and try and go after a player who's running down their contract. The problem is, his agents are greedy bastards. That's the problem. But I think West Ham might need to go into the market and go after someone like a Jonathan David. They need to persuade someone to get here. And this is why Tim Steidler needs to put his finger out of his arse. Like, if he's supposed to be like the fucking pearl diver or the gem hunter or whatever he fucking is, he needs to go out and find these players. Do you know what I'm saying? Because me and you could sit here all night and go, we need him, and him. Fucking Tim, get on the fucking plane and go and find someone, because we need someone urgently. I think it's quite serious, Jay, if I'm being honest, because we've got no attackers. And when you take away the goals, if we're conceding goals, we're going to lose a lot more than we're going to win. So I think it's on him. I think Jonathan David's a good player. I think he would do us. Like, I've seen some shit over the years at this club. He's not shit. I think when people say 25 million isn't a lot for David, I agree. Yeah, even if you paid the agent's fees 10 million and you got him for 15 million, you could get him. People keep saying about Duran. See Osborne Grant there saying about Duran. Duran's gone, mate.
Yeah, no.
Right, that ship has well and truly sailed. Right, we ain't getting in, mate, because one, he signed a new deal, so basically he ain't going to come for anything less than probably 60 million. And Napoli are looking at him. Do you know what I mean? Because I think Napoli are getting rid of one of their star boys. Who's the winger? The Georgian winger. So it wouldn't surprise me if they go after Duran now. So, it's. I don't know about. What do you think, Jay, on David?
Yeah, I quickly on the Duran thing. The finances match up for the Napoli bid that could be coming in. They want 65 mil. I think I saw in the press the other day, and they're going to get about 65 mil in. So it makes a lot of sense, mate. I think Jonathan David's the right kind of player to go for. He's got a great goal scoring record, 11 goals in the league this season, 6 in the Champions League. It looks like a player that matches. This is a name that I see come at Awoniyi. I'm not inspired by him. I don't think he's a long-term kind of player.
With him before, though.
I weren't inspired with him then either. I won't lie. I don't think he's the profile of player. I don't think he's done enough to be the answer to West Ham's problems. Because let's be honest, this is a massive problem that we've always had at West Ham. We need a striker who's going to come in and score 15 goals in the season. And is Awoniyi going to score 15 goals in a West Ham shirt? No, he's not. He'll be another expensive player who will end up being a bench player and will be asked to come on and score here and there. Yeah, 100%. If we're going to go and sign a striker, we either need somebody on loan until the end of the season just to plug the gap and then spend big on someone in the summer, or we need to buy someone now like Jonathan David, who is an ambitious target, reasonably priced for what he is, and will be part of the long-term vision for West Ham. I don't think I want to use that guy personally. The Ferguson deal looks like it's dead anyway because he's apparently injured, and we can't wait long enough to see if he's fit and if they'll let him go. That would be a deadline day deal, and we can't wait that long. So, the amount of targets that we can actually look at is getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and it's a worrying position. To go back to the Rashford conversation from earlier as well. I don't have an issue with Marcus Rashford, right? He's obviously so talented, but the fact that he has been identified as a problem player by a number of Manchester United managers, the fact that he so clearly wants out, he's clearly got personal problems as well. That guy needs to move away from the Premier League. He needs to go somewhere and prove that he can be a big fish again. I don't think he's the right player for West Ham personally.
Yeah, but we see that with Jesse Lingard, and look how he transformed us. He was. I think if Rashford was to come to West Ham and you had a front four of a striker, Rashford, Kudus, Bowen, maybe even Paqueta to a point, even if you had them all rotating, in a front four, that's a good front four. I don't think Rashford's a bad player to have at West Ham, mate. I really don't. And I think what it is, we all know what Manchester United's like. Look at them tonight. They're fucking celebrating an FA Cup win, and Xerxes scores the penalty. 2 weeks ago, they was booing him and celebrating when he got subbed. That is the mentality of the Manchester United fan, that they are very fickle when it comes to their players. And 1 minute they're a hero, next minute they're a villain. For me, if Rashford was to come to West Ham, I think it would be a good move. Right, it'd be a good move for both parties. Right, we can play on the break. I don't think West Ham are going to be playing a possession-based style of football because we just haven't got the personnel. We need about 250 million spent before we get to that level. But if we can play as a counter-attacking unit with Somerville, Kudus, Rashford on the break, I'm all for it. There is other strikers out there, but obviously we're going to have to wait till the summer. I see people saying about the Ipswich striker, Delap. Yeah, I think he's another one who could be a good player if he comes to West Ham. But the problem is, I don't think we're going to have time. I really don't, because I think we need Bowen back. We need and even if with Bowen, we can't rush him back. Do you know what I'm saying? So I honestly don't know. What about Chan for you? People have mentioned Chan from Wolves.
Oh, Hwang Hee-chan. Again, a player who's talented. Mate, he blows so hot and cold. Remember, every season, I swear, he'll have 4 or 5 games where we go, oh my God, he is an absolute player. And then he disappears. And then you don't hear anything else of him. Again, could he be a short-term solution if he was on loan? Yeah, I wouldn't turn it down. I think it would be an all right stopgap until the summer. So I'd probably take him. I saw what Daniel Neal said something about you got 20 mil. Who do you sign? Who do you loan? I would throw 20 mil at Jonathan David personally, because I reckon 20 mil gets him out of contract in 4 or 5 months. So I think if it's me and it's my transfer window now, I throw 20 mil at Jonathan David as your go and sign him. If we're selling Emerson at left back, then you loan Chilwell to cover that, and I bring James Ward-Prowse back and sell Guido Rodriguez, and it probably balances the books a bit. You probably get combined I don't know if you wouldn't get much for either of those players. Maybe you get combined 10 million across Emerson and Guido Rodriguez. You spend 20, you loan a player, and you get James Ward-Prowse back. That's 3 players in 3 positions that we need support, and it probably does you. But I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's probably the way that I would do it.
So the thing is, right, this is the problem, that we are so shit in the market with strikers. Now, this is where, when I have debates with people on X, I do the spaces and everything, and people say to me, "Oh, why do you get on Tim Steiden's back for situations currently like this right now?" We all know we need a striker at his club. So where's the book? What is he doing? What's he done? From the summer window to the present day, you would have said to yourself, right, we need a striker. Yeah, the moment Bowen goes down, we need a striker. And you need to get your book out and have a look, see who's about, right? And now we definitely need a striker, especially with Füllkrug going down. And that's the reason why Tim Steiden gets a lot of hate, because he doesn't act fast enough for me. Do you know what I'm saying? If Emerson goes, then fair enough, right? It's looking likely that he could probably go, right? Do you know what I mean? He's not injured, so I don't know what's happened there. And but we definitely need some sort of work, because then Potter can't do the job in hand, can he? I'm saying, Jay, he's restricted before he's even getting started. But I agree with you. And I see what Gaz just says there. Like, it's 125 grand a week we're paying for Danny Ings. That's another problem. That we've got a player that's literally bleeding us dry. We've somehow got to ship him out the door, mate. I'm not going to lie. Do you know what I'm saying?
I think for the remainder of the season, like if you had someone come in and say, "Yeah, we'll take him on loan and we'll pay all of his wages," then I'll be like, "Yeah, get him gone." But we're still gonna have to pay like half of his wages, and even then, we're gonna have to persuade him to. Hey, mate, how many offers has he had to leave, and how many times has he said no? I'm sure in the summer, Southampton came in for him, even on loan, and he said no. He's the one who blocked the move, and that's why they ended up taking Maxwell Cornet. So we just can't get rid of him. I think I think we're just going to have to deal with Danny Ings being here for the rest of the season. And at the end of the year, you think about it, you've got Ings is out of contract, Cresswell's out of contract, Soufal's out of contract.
Antonio.
So if Antonio, I will account for Antonio probably still being here next year. I think he'll get his 1 year extension and he'll still be here. But as a minimum, those three players are out. That's what, 250, best part of £250,000 a week in wages. Means you can go big for Kyle Walker-Peters. You promote Ollie Scarles to replace Cresswell, and suddenly you've filled like two of those gaps and not really spent any money on them. So I think the summer is where we'll see the squad start to turn around if we can be proactive. But to your point, one of the reasons Steiden gets so much hate is because he's not very proactive. How are we letting players nearly out of contract get to the stage where we haven't put an offer in until the last minute for him? It's weird.
It really is. Like, I see someone said there, Tim signed Guilherme to save face after loads of trips to Brazil. I completely agree with that. Right. I think it was getting to a stage where even I was questioning whether he had a brass there, because he must have had a fucking 2 or 3 brasses there because of the amount of trips he was doing. Like, listen, Rio is a lovely place, trust me. And there is some fine arse over there. And if he's over there for a long period of time, he's probably hitting it numerous occasions. So there you go.
Goodness me.
But that's the reason why he gets a lot of fucking stick, and rightfully so. Obviously, we mentioned Scarles and we mentioned Potter. Is there anything that you want to mention, Jay? Anything that that we've missed that you want to discuss?
What are the options? Like, so we've got a few players out on loan at the moment, haven't we? And there's been a lot of names thrown about of how we can we bring this person, or this person back. The 3 names that I see, James Ward-Prowse we briefly discussed. Naya Fagerd has been discussed, and Freddie Potts has been discussed. There's 3 players that we've got out on loan, 2 of whom are doing really well out on loan. Aged's doing really well for Real Sociedad. Freddie Potts is doing really well for Portsmouth. James Ward-Prowse is not playing for Nottingham Forest. The difficulty you got here, I'm sure I read today that Sullivan's confirmed we don't have the option to recall Naya Fagerd. So we're still going to have problems at centre-back. And it's just an area that, like, you know, it's going to be difficult for us to recruit a good centre-back before the end of the season. Freddie Potts at Portsmouth seems to be doing really, really well. I don't think it would be the right decision to bring him back from loan to come and play a bit part till the end of the season. You'd be better off leaving him there, let him finish out the season, and then come back next year. Which leaves James Ward-Prowse. Like, that's the only guy that I can see coming in and being a cost-free option in centre midfield. You move Guido on, and then you've got some backup in the park that we can actually use.
Anyone in the youth, do you think, that could come in right now other than Scarles, or is that just
the only 2, Caelan Casey and Lewis Orford. Now, like, Caelan Casey just doesn't look physically ready for the Premier League. He, like, from whatever you see, from whatever I see, whenever I've watched an under-21s game, he looks technically pretty tidy, positioned pretty tidy. He'll get bullied. The second you put him against a big centre forward, he'll get absolutely bullied. So I don't think he's right. I think he's got to be someone that goes out on loan next season. We've been told for how long that Lewis Orford is the next big thing at this club. And when are we actually going to see it is my question. Like again, from what I've seen when I've watched under 21s, he looks absolutely quality. And the thing people have got to remind themselves of is when a youth player comes through, they're not going to be the finished article. They're not going to be anywhere near, like, they're not going to look like they are at that standard to start with. They've got to do things simple. They've got to be tidy. They've got to move the ball quickly. It's what Ollie Scarles did very, very well on Friday. Do you know what? It was actually quite emotional. I thought, like, seeing this kid make his sort of full debut against the Premier League sides. He was playing in front of our fans in the first half, and the whole half, everyone was singing his name for so long.
Yeah.
And you could see how up for it this kid was. And this is what I've been saying about how I want some reason to be excited at the club. We haven't really got anything to be excited about for the rest of the season, have we? Let's be honest. But if we see Ollie Scarles' breakthrough season and we can see that kid spend the rest of the year, the rest of the season, growing and becoming a first team regular from maybe next year or the year after, then it was kind of like we got something. We left with something, you know?
We've learned something from the season.
Yeah, yeah. I always want, like I say, I want some positives. And the positives so far that Potter can bring me this season, regardless of where we finish, as long as we don't go down, is give Ollie Scarles as much game time as possible and show me what Lewis Orford can do. Because, like I say, he could be the problem that's the solution to our problem that is sat there. But we've got no idea. Have we been gaslit into thinking that, like with Divine Mabama, where we were told that he's going to be top quality, and then he just couldn't get in the team? Like
what
weird.
I don't get with Orford is that Villa come in the summer and we put a bid to them in regards of basically Orford plus money for Duran.
Yeah.
Right. So basically, do we really believe in this kid or not? Now, shout out to West Ham Online, aka West Ham Live 5, wherever he is right now. Alf, I hope you're well. He said to me a long time ago, Orford's the best player out of all of them. Out of Potts, out of Earthy, out of Casey, out of Scarles, Orford is the guy. He is the one. What I don't get with this club, and this is why we're so far backwards at the minute, is we just don't loan players out. We just do not loan players out, and every time we do, it takes us too long. Like we lose a season or half a season, right? Not being funny, Orford should be loaned out in the next 6 months. Like if he's here now, what is he learning from being in and around the fucking under-23s? I don't see it. I think you learn more if you go and play for a Colchester United or a Doncaster Rovers. Look at Marshall at the minute. Marshall's doing all right up at Huddersfield. He's took the risk. And Potts, listen, Freddie Potts will be West Ham's future central midfielder. Mark my words on that. I think he's a good player. I think his old man's obviously in the coaching staff at West Ham currently right now. So, you know, I'm all for players coming in. What you said about the fan base getting behind one of their own, we always do. That has never changed, right? And that never will change. If a player comes on, we'll back him. Do you know what I mean? The only thing with us as a fan base is do we hype some of our youngsters up a bit too much and think they're better than what they are? That's the only thing I will say, but that's difference of opinion. Now, for me, you don't bring back Potts. You leave him to flourish there. And some of the youngsters that we have got, Casey, I see Hawkins' family's in there. Obviously, Hawkins' family knows Casey because he's a Thurrock boy. Like, so, you know, I just if we can get through this season somehow without overhyping our players and just letting them play. Like basically a bit of Coach Carter here for you lads. Just let the players play. Do you know what I'm saying? And yeah. And then we know where we stand. Do you know what I mean? I see what Lucas says there. We love to overhype and we love to tear down. Yeah, that's true. I'm going to be honest. Did you bump into Lucas, Jay?
I tried. Shout out to Lucas. I tried. The thing with like when we were in Villa Park, mate, the concourse is so narrow. And there was basically one entrance for the upper tier. So I positioned myself at a place where I was like, right, if I see like a 7'5" American, I could just grab him. But I stood there with a beer, and then I got another beer, and then I got another beer. And mate, the concourse just packed out, and it was like sardines. And I was like, I actually cannot stand here any longer. So I tried to look out for Lucas, but Lucas, I'll hit you up, mate. We're at Fulham at home Tuesday, so I'm sure I'll be able to grab a beer with the American legend of the channel. That's why I didn't see Lucas. He says he missed the first 10 minutes. There you go. I was in the seat before then.
That was our best bit, Lucas. Fucking hell, do you know what I'm saying? What do you think the future holds for West Ham? Obviously, this week's a big week. Fulham, Palace. Obviously, we're going to do a preview tomorrow. What do you expect, mate? Really, in the coming week?
I think expect West Ham to probably sit on our hands a bit in the transfer market. I know we can sit here for as long as we want. We've all got opinions on who we need to go and get, what we need to do, where we need to strengthen. I don't expect West Ham to have any kind of urgency because our recruitment policy will stay the same, right? Where we identify a bunch of targets, we put initial inquiries into a bunch of targets, we get the responses back, then we have a mother's meeting about like, what do we think about what's the best value. Instead of just going to try and get the best player for the position, we want to get the best deal in the market. And that is the way Sullivan operates. And we have handed the initiative back to Sullivan. So he will decide what we do. And I imagine we'll still be having this conversation in 2 weeks' time about who do we go and sign and where do we need to strengthen most urgently. So I expect the next couple of games to be difficult. What I would like, if he's fit to do so, I'd like to see another start for Ollie Scarles. I'd like to see some minutes for Orford. Get what you were saying earlier. Like, we do love to like build up a youngster and then absolutely rip him to shreds as soon as you get the chance. So I think there's kind of the opportunity coming for the likes of Lewis Orford very soon. We're not in a position where we can be picky. We're going to have to throw somebody in. And like I say, for all intents and purposes, we've been told about these three names: Orford, Scarles, and Casey. Casey got his minutes off the bench against Bournemouth. Scarles has just made his first start. Show me Lewis Orford as well, and let's start getting him in. So that's what I'd like for the next few weeks. Just that's the minimum. Get some youngsters in and get some players in their best positions and keep developing.
Darren says there, question: who are we playing up top on Tuesday? Fucking hell.
Ain't that the magic question, eh?
Do you know what? I wouldn't even put things there. I really wouldn't. Yeah, we paid 25 mil out for a Brazilian wonder kid. It's about time to see this wonder kid in action, isn't it? And just let him. If we're gonna let Scarles play, Luis Guilherme, the Brazilian sensation, he's got to play and all. And I think we've got to give him games and we've got to assess him over a 70, 80 minute period. Do you know what I mean? We could have a really good player sitting on the fucking bench, right? And we're sitting there wondering, well, what the fuck is going on? Do you know what I'm saying? What do you make of that? Like, for me, I'd have Mo as a false nine. Guilherme on, and then Paqueta on the left, and then have like a 3-man midfield. That's the way I'd go around it. Because at least Mo and at least that front three can rotate. Let's put it like that.
I'll be more than happy with that, to be honest. I'll be absolutely delighted with that. I thought when you talk about like the front three or the attacking options, I thought in the first half at least, I thought Mo looked better tucking in and getting involved and linking up with Somerville. I thought Paqueta looked really good when he was, at one point, he would be left mid when we were sat in a 4-4-2, and then he would get a bit more central. I thought he did, and again, he obviously comes in for criticism for his role in their first goal. He loves to roll around on the floor. But what I thought he did really well, he seems to do this when there's a youngster playing, is Paqueta will figuratively put his arm around them and he'll try and bring him into the game and he'll look after him. I thought him stepping in and covering Ollie Scarles in that first half did him the world.
I've got to be honest. Yeah, I thought he was fucking brilliant in that first half, Paqueta, in regards of helping him out, and he didn't leave him isolated. Obviously, second half there was moments where Ollie was a bit he was up against it to a point.
Yeah.
Like before the goal was coming, but there was a few times where they got round him, and he did get sort of turned a few times. But listen, he's a fucking young kid, mate. He's going to get turned. Do you know what I mean? These are proven Premier League footballers, and anyone who believes like the kid's not able to make a mistake needs to get in the fucking bin.
Yeah.
But I agree with you on the Paqueta thing, mate. I would do.
Yeah, it was the same when George Murphy got himself like his first minutes last season. I remember noticing it at the time. Paqueta would get on the ball and he would just look for Earth and you'd just pass it to him and then give him an easy pass out. Just trying to build his confidence, trying to get him on the ball and trying to get him feeling good. And he did the same with Ollie Scarles on Friday. And it was really, really good to see. Like, as much as he gets a lot of shit, he clearly cares. He clearly wants the youngsters to get their game time. He clearly wants to help. Not only like the individuals, he wants to help the team as well. He gets a lot of shit, but I was really, really proud of him for that. And I thought it didn't go unnoticed for me. So if you end up with Paqueta playing that sort of quasi left mid / centre mid, I have no problem with it whatsoever. I like the idea that I think Guilherme is going to probably get his start. We haven't really got another option, have we? Because I agree with you. There's no way we can start Danny Ings. There's just no way. But is Potter going to make a call like playing Kudus false nine when he's not played there for West Ham before in his second game in charge and in his first Premier League game in charge? It's a big call.
I'd rather him make that risk or take that risk to a point. Right, get me fucking words out. I'd rather him do that than put a man up front who is like carrying, like who's doing nothing. Do you know what I'm saying? I'd rather give the ball to Lewis Guilherme and let the man run. Do you know what I mean? And have wingers who can actually get past people and do some damage. See, there's a few ways you could go. Lucas Paqueta up front. He can hold the ball up. He's good in the air. He can buy you a foul, maybe at times.
You can try.
But I honestly think Kudus up front as a false nine, Guilherme on the right, and then you go Paqueta on the left, and then you have a midfield three of Soler, Alvarez, and Souček. Souček can be the furthest forward. He can make late runs, and we've got people there. The problem is we need pace on the break. Do you know what I mean? Because teams are just going to come on top of us at the end of the day. And obviously it looks a bit daunting at the minute. Obviously if I've got this right, we've got Fulham, Palace, Villa, Chelsea, and then we've got the FA Cup game. So we've got 4 games before that FA Cup sort of break, basically that winter break to a point. We're going to have to sort of get through this, but I do think he needs help, mate. I wonder, do you reckon Sullivan turned around and said to him that he's going to help him in the January window in regards of money?
Must have. There's no way. There's absolutely no. And I think what we could see is a message from Potter to Sullivan, where he does something like we've said and plays Kudus false 9, and then goes to Sullivan and goes, "You need to get me a striker now." I could see that definitely happening. But shout out Colin, E16 Colin, what a boy. Yeah,
Colin, thank you very much, mate. Great show, James and Jay. We'll win 2-1. I love it. I love it, mate. You know what I mean? I love it when people talk positive.
Colin's ever the optimist. What a man. What a bloke.
If the moment Lewis Guilherme scores that goal, Colin, you're getting mentioned throughout the platform, mate.
Colin, I'll drop you my address and we'll have a little party to celebrate.
Do you know what? And I'm still waiting for the old Brazilian flares.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? On the east side of London, do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So yeah, fire brigade, police be looking at something, but it'd be Jay celebrating his game's goal
in my pants on my balcony. Yeah.
Do you know what? I just feel like we need to see this kid, and we need to see it. Like, listen, I think we've all come to the conclusion that this is a dead season. And what you said earlier on, I make you 100% right. We need to see players come in and learn from this season for next season. I actually think we need to build now for next season, i.e., like with some of the youngsters. And Lewis Guilherme, like, this will be the one really, because if Lewis Guilherme comes in and he turns out to be a really good player, then Steidon was right about getting him. If he doesn't, then Steidon's took the piss out of all of us by going to Brazil 5 times and not bringing back this geezer. So we're going to know exactly what Lewis Guilherme's like. I think you need to start this kid. Do you know what I'm saying? If he's going to be a well beat and everyone says he's going to be like in 2-3 years' time, he's going to be the next big thing, then let's fucking see him. Like, do you know what I'm saying? He's no good on the bench, is it? So, it is what it is. Graham, what's that? Lucas saying here. Graham Potter would not be here right now if we didn't get some sort of reassurances in January. Sullivan, though, mate. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't trust that geezer as far as I can fucking throw him. There's a comment up here. Where was it? Oh, it's from Adam. That's it. We went back and saw Potter's interview again. I'm really looking forward to next season. How many players do we need to get out in the summer? Give us a number, Jay. How many you reckon? I think you're looking at about 9.
As in moving them on or getting them in? Probably both, to be fair.
I think you need 9 out. I think Cresswell goes. The Antonio one's a tricky one because it might. Will Potter look at sentiment, or will he look at? No, I don't need that type of player. But he has signed older-ish players before. Look, he had Glenn Murray at. I think he did have Glenn Murray at Brighton at the time.
Yeah,
I can't remember if he was the one who signed Welbeck either. So
I think he was.
I think 9. How many are you saying?
I'd probably agree with you. And I would probably say, should we have the conversation about Edson Alvarez as well? Because obviously there's a bid that's gone in for him from Monaco. We haven't touched on this topic yet. What do you make of that? And what do you do in this scenario? It's obviously a loan. All I know is it's a loan. I don't know whether it's with option or obligation or what, but a loan bid for Edson Alvarez. What are you saying on that?
If someone said to me right now, you go and get rid of Alvarez and you bring in Douglas Luiz from Juventus, would you do it?
That's a hell of a shout.
Because that is the rumor. I'm going to say that that's going around that Douglas Luiz, West Ham are looking at him on a loan deal to the end of the season. So you go and loan Mav to them with a sort of obligation to buy, and then you go for Douglas Luiz. If not, do you keep Mav? But then what does Mav really want to be here? That's that. The question is with a lot of these players is you're going to know in the next few months what ones want to be here and what ones don't. We are also forgetting that the fucking Lucas Paqueta situation with the gambling. That's another
Yeah.
thing that's kicking us in the mouth. And we don't know. We don't know on that one. So that could be another one who's out of action for a while. Do you know what, Jay? With the Alvarez one, I just don't know, mate. I just don't know. If someone said to me right now they can go and get 4 players or 5 players, then I might believe it. But at this rate, we're looking at about 2 at best, I think, in this window. Because where else are you going to go and get another player like Alvarez in that position who's available to a point? Do you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
can't see us. I can't see us signing more than 2 players, mate. Which is why I would bring James Ward-Prowse back. Like,
Yeah,
again, purely for bodies. Do you know what? I completely put the Lucas Paqueta situation out of my mind and
yeah,
thought, like we're obviously going to have him to the end of the season. What if we don't sign or don't bring in another centre midfielder, and then we lose Lucas Paqueta? You're one injury away again from a complete disaster,
yeah.
and we have to get another body in centre midfield. It's as simple as that. Which is why I don't think you can get rid of Alvarez unless you get a chunky bid for a purchase this month, and then do exactly what you say, go and get Douglas Luiz or someone similar, so that you've got fresh legs come in. And I would still bring James Ward-Prowse back just to make sure that we've got cover and we've got enough bodies in there. I still maintain Jonathan David up front, bring James Ward-Prowse back, and sign Chilwell on loan. Agree with Basil, like we do have to get that over the line with them, but
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be some kind of financial incentive where we write off some of the like payment that they're due to pay us or whatever. I don't know.
Steve, hope you're well, mate. Jimbo and Jay, in your opinion, do you think Paqueta is guilty? I think he's getting banned. If you want me to be honest, I don't see it dragging out and then they go and they drop all charges and everything goes away. When you know how betting companies work, and I'll tell you this quickly, I had problems with a current betting company over the weekend where they was trying to suspend me for fucking having bets on my own account. So if they're like that with me, and my bets are sort of not mega money, but they're reasonable, they're going to look at Paqueta, mate. And I think they're going to make a sort of example of the geezer to a point, like they did with Tonali, and obviously Ivan Toney. So I don't think he's getting away with it. I think he's guilty to a point, but nevertheless, I think he's going to get banned. Do you know what I mean? What do you reckon, Jay? Do you reckon he's guilty?
Yeah. First of all, Steve, nice to hear from you without being slandered for once. Secondly, I'm honestly I've been torn on this for so long, and the thing that there's 2 ways of looking at it, right? First of all, there's no smoke without fire. Like the details that have come out, it's like there's so many coincidences at one time. Well, not even at one time, at 4 different times. There's so many coincidences in such a congregated, like a concentrated place that something has to have happened. The thing that I then look at on the flip side is the difference between the Ivan Toney and the Sandro Tonali ones is that there was smoking guns in those cases. There's no smoking gun in this case, but the burden of proof is not we have 100% defined this, which it was in those cases. They could 100% define it. Like they had the evidence. They slapped them with the evidence and went, here's a ban. Simple as that. They can't do that in this case from what I've seen. So it's really, really hard. I think this is going to be a really difficult case for them to make a call on. But I agree with you. They can easily just make an example of the bloke and go, look, on the balance of probabilities, because there'll be probabilities from the betting world, like they'll go, the probability of this happening on 4 different occasions and all of these bets coming in is 0.00000 whatever. So the chances of it not being set up is so slim that something has to have happened.
When you look at a couple of them, I think the Bournemouth one springs to mind, the one where it's the 90th minute and he fucking handballs it. And she jumps up and punches the ball near enough, right? That one is iffy as fuck. And if listen, like anyone who sort of has a bet, you know yourselves, when you start lumping on loads of money, the price starts going down because right, they know when the markets are starting to change. Right, and it proved it the other day with Lopetegui, for instance. Like the market at the start of the day was 7-4 for him to get sacked. Within about 2 hours, it went to 1-12. You know what I'm saying? So the market can shift quite quick. And if a lot of money's going down on something, and if you want me to be honest, just some of the stuff he comes out with, the stuff about there was a religious thing he come out with the other week before Christmas, and I'm thinking, right, I think he knows that he's done something wrong, but he's trying to get around it, if I'm being honest. So, are there any other clubs looking at David? Is he seen as too much of a gamble? What do you make of that, Jay?
I think Newcastle have been looking at him. This is why I'd want us to act pretty quickly. Newcastle are obviously lining him up in case they lose Isak. There's obviously a lot of interest in Isak, and I don't think Isak will necessarily go in January. He costs too much money for a club to go and buy him in January, but I can see him being off in the summer. I can see a big club coming for him in the summer and chucking 100 million at him and going, what do you think of that? So we need to act now on this guy. He is a risk. I completely agree. He's a risk. Anyone who's not Prem proven is a risk, but there's a number of clubs who are looking at this player. I believe Manchester United have looked at him as well. I think Spurs, if I remember rightly, Spurs have looked at him. So there's some serious clubs looking at him. Bayern, Steve's just said Bayern looking at him as well. So there's a lot of clubs. Hence, we need to go in there now, prove that we want the guy, probably pay him a chunky sum to come and join us and go and get him. Because in the summer, it's a free-for-all. On a free transfer, the amount of clubs that will put contract offers in front of him, and you'd have to pay him way more than we'd be able to pay him per week. So if you're going to get him, now's the time, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, let's hope so. So I can give it back to Kane. Right. That is it, mate. I think we've nearly done an hour. We've had a good discussion about it. Any final words from you, Jay?
Just looking forward to being back there on Tuesday. As I mentioned, it was great to be amongst the traveling fans. It did take me an absolute age to get home, and I'm still catching up on sleep. I think, like I said at the start of the video, I must have got home gone 3 o'clock in the morning. The joys of the night tube not running directly where I wanted it to go. But yeah, looking forward to being back on Tuesday. There's a bit of excitement. There was a lot of excitement amongst the fans. Even when we were walking out, we had lost, but chatting to fans on the way out, everyone was still happy with the performance. And it feels like West Ham are starting to get back to finding ourselves. Let's not get on the manager's back. As you said earlier, I don't expect the rest of the season to be like moon and stars, completely different. I expect it to be tough. I expect the lack of squad that we've got, the injuries that we've got, the holes in the squad that we've got. I expect it to bite, and I expect us to probably still end up with a similar kind of record. It's next season. Next season's the one to look at. I've got optimism for Potter. We'll give him some time. We'll get behind him. And yeah, we'll look forward to welcoming him to London Stadium on Tuesday.
I completely agree with what you said. I think the key word is time with this geezer. You're going to have to give him time, because I think Lopetegui's run some of these players into the ground and he's burnt them all out. If you want me to be truthfully honest, he's burnt out quite a few of these players. And I've never known West Ham to have so many injuries in a season. Like 1 or 2 maybe, like the odd ones, but not like this, not the front line. And let's have it right, we've been unlucky with injuries and all. Obviously, Antonio having a car crash didn't help the situation. Otherwise, he would have been in the firing line to be starting games. Nevertheless, with him, Potter's here, and he needs help from the board. I will be honest, and he can't listen. He might be fucking Graham Potter, the magician, the wizard. Right, but he can't do it on his fucking own. Do you know what I mean? He's going to need some money put aside and helped for his sort of development. One thing I will say about Graham Potter is he don't care who he upsets, i.e., basically letting players play. If he sees that they're good enough, he will let these lads play. And to me, that's what it's all about. And something you said earlier on, just to sort of finish up on this, and when you said about you feel it from the fan base when you're getting behind one of your own, right? We will back these players up, right? If these players will be given up the opportunity, and we can make these players big themselves. Do you know what I'm saying? But we need to make sure that we take our time with Scarles, because I'm going to be honest, I don't think he's ready for 90 minutes consistently yet, but not to say he won't be in the future. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to E20 Zone TV, hit the notification bell and all of that. Tomorrow, preview West Ham versus Fulham. Who will be up front, ladies and gentlemen? That is the $1 million question. Who will be up front? And will we sign any players by Tuesday night? Let's hope so. Anyway, from me to you, take care of yourselves and each other.